Good morning. As an academic and a woman in leadership, I work really, really hard to maintain the facade that I am above frivolity. But truth be told, I'm obsessed with handbags and binge watching trash TV. Now, my favorite guilty pleasure, hands down, is the HBO series Big Love, but not because of all of the sex and drama that comes along with a Mormon polygamous family. Rather, it is because I'm enthralled with the stories of the three sister wives, Barb, Nikki, and Margene. These are women who come face to face with the challenge every day of balancing their religious beliefs alongside their feminist beliefs. And their struggle is one that I strongly identify with as a Catholic feminist. Now, many claim that such an identity is an oxymoron. Religious identified persons argue that to be feminist is to reject our God-given roles. And many feminists argue to be religious is to simply not be feminist, that the two identities cannot intersect. And while the perception largely exists that it is only a feminist act to leave one's patriarchal tradition, it is also very much a feminist act to choose to stay. Now, granted, when thinking of a faith-filled woman, the image of a revolutionary feminist doesn't necessarily come to mind, but it should. Feminism and religion actually have a long history together, and during the first wave of feminism, the women's suffrage movement was actually only part of a larger social reform effort that drew on religious values. Now, this is not to say that religion is not oppressive or misogynistic. A feminist critique is certainly warranted. I'm embarrassed to tell you, I was in college before I came to realize that God is not a man. Growing up, making the sign of the cross and saying the Our Father, it never occurred to me that God could be anything but a man. And we see how that translates to society. If God is male, and a white male at that, then male is God. We desperately need to move away from the idea that God is the old white man that Michelangelo painted on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. We are all made in the image of God, and so God can be found within all of humanity. So the question becomes, let me say that again. Beyond that critique, if we look to the creation stories, we see that they are utilized to justify the subordination of women. And then looking to Scripture, they are scattered with texts of terror that detail the brutalization of women. And of course, we have the epistles, interpreted as claiming that women should be silent, that women's voices do not count. It is no wonder that women are the most discriminated against group in the world. Religion is the foundation of that oppression. So, now the question becomes, how can a woman who is rejected by her religious tradition simultaneously exist within its patriarchal structure? And how can a woman who rejects problematic, dogmatic interpretations claim to maintain a religious identity? Well, the response is twofold. First, we need to understand what feminism is. Stereotypes continue to dominate our perceptions. It wasn't that long ago that a colleague took it upon himself to inform me that he is highly disturbed to know that I identify as a feminist. Highly disturbed. Wow. Well, I have to tell you, it becomes very, very exhausting, reassuring people that I am not going to burn any bras and that I am not attempting to wipe men off the face of the earth. Feminism at its foundation, it's about the eradication of sexism and all oppressions. And it recognizes that all isms, racism, classism, heterosexism, and sexism, and so on, they're deeply intertwined. And if we are going to interrupt these oppressions, they need to be uprooted wherever they exist, including within religion. And second, we need to come to understand that religion has feminist potential. Speaking from a Catholic perspective, if we looked at the teachings of Jesus, they're founded on the principles of love and inclusion, liberation and social justice. These are all consistent with feminist practice. Women's subordination and patriarchy, these are distortions of faith. So any person who chooses to claim agency by working to disrupt these distortions, they are acting in a way that is consistent with both religious teaching and feminist practice. Now, today in the 21st century, it is a very, very exciting time to be engaged in such work. Technological spaces, they have grown and created a space for us to have voice that have not existed in the past. And social media, it has propelled forward the online feminist movement. Feminist work within online spaces, it has become a significant implementation of contemporary feminism. And in fact, feminist blogs have been called the consciousness-raising group of the 21st century. If we are to interweave religion and online feminism, the possibilities that exist are incredible. Now, although men have traditionally dominated leadership roles within religion and female participation has often been suppressed, the digital world offers women a voice, a space to articulate ideas, to claim power, and to further shape their religious communities. So it was with this recognition in mind that I co-founded the blogging project, Feminism and Religion. Alongside of my three brilliant colleagues, Xochitl Vizo, Caroline Klein, and Cynthia Garrity-Bond, we set out to create a space where feminist scholars and activists could come together to dialogue around questions related to religion. And after reflecting on 3 years of engaging this virtual community, what I can tell you is that social media is an incredibly powerful platform. And such a space is desperately needed. Small gatherings in classrooms, living rooms, and coffee shops have grown into global conversations. And what has been launched is a new feminist revolution in religion. On the blog, Feminism and Religion, with readers in 181 countries and about 500,000 hits a year, borders are being expanded, new frontiers are being built on a daily basis. Online space has become sacred space. And this new revolution, it's a game changer. Now, this isn't to say that our work is complete. The change we hope to see, of course, is not going to happen overnight. And while some claim our efforts are a waste of time, the bottom line is that we need to have a mature attitude and recognize that the path to change takes time. But with our collective efforts, transformation is possible. So, if you believe these distortions of faith should be disrupted, that sexism and all oppressions should be confronted wherever they exist, then recognize your own position in this new feminist revolution. Claim your power, your voice, and be fearless. Thank you.